Brad O'Neill and Zara McDermott. How are you both doing?
Hey.
It's so wonderful to talk to you right here on my YouTube channel. How's lockdown treating both of you? You guys are both looking really glowed up.
Lockdown's it's kind of a blessing in disguise, isn't it? I'm just loving my milkshake and living my best life. You know, it's just weird. It's like even doing a Zoom call like this. It's just like adapting to it. But when you get used to it, it's actually quite convenient in a weird way.
I think of it as like the kind of the new style of social interaction is mostly online. I mean, I was saying before,
Totally.
You look like you're about to drop some kind of fast food review for a YouTube channel, but
I just love milkshake.
Milkshake is the one. How about you, Zara? Is it Spain you're in right now, or the Canary Islands?
Yes, I'm literally in the Canary Islands for a few weeks. Well, for a couple of days, and I'm flying to Marbella.
I wanted to say as well, I was checking on your Instagram story, and all I saw last night was like loads of cats.
So honestly, there's so many little kittens that live where I'm staying. The cutest thing.
That is the absolute dream.
To me, Zara, you look more like a dog person.
Do I?
You look like you'd have a massive white husky.
I appreciate dogs, but cats for me, just stop it.
Nah.
We've got you guys on here to talk about the brand new single Closer, which is like absolutely incredible. I think, Brad, I've known you for like 5 years. I've seen the progression you've made, and for me, like, your thing is kind of being an artist based out of a local area and just rising, making music that belongs on that Capital playlist. And then to have like Zara on a song now, how did you guys first meet each other, and how did this song come into fruition?
We made the track with a guy called Ben Stankham, who you know.
Yeah, AMS Music Group.
And AMS. And so we made the track, and to be honest, like, me and Ben were just like, this one is like special. You know, and sometimes you do things and we had a moment with it. We knew we wanted to get someone on board. I kind of have waited, you know, I haven't really put much music out the last like year or so.
Yeah.
And I just was waiting for the right moment to get everything to the right stage before we kind of really hammer it again. And then we wanted someone who was like cool, fresh, like current, that like the youth would really like.
Yeah.
And obviously somebody who has like a wide audience as well. And me and Matt had our eyes on Zara for a little while. We just seen like little bits and pieces. She just kind of kept popping up. And then when Zara did the X Factor, like last year, and we were just like, yo, like, her voice is sick, and I feel like she's not being portrayed in the way that maybe like she has so much talent, and like that voice needs to be heard. So we got in contact and we sent her the track. She liked it, and then
yeah. And Zara, for you, I think people probably know you more from Love Island, but actually I was watching some of your Q&A videos. You've been singing and writing music since you were about 6, right? Thanks to the home studio.
My dad had a record deal in the 80s, and he's produced music and done all of that jazz pretty much his whole life. So I've had a recording studio in my house since I was born.
That's incredible.
So I've literally grown up with it. I've not just grown up with a musical family. Obviously, I do have a musical family, but also having the almost technology around me for so long. It's taught me so much about just about the industry as much as I can from the comfort of my own home. But I've been writing a lot. I wrote a few of the tracks for X Factor, which people probably wouldn't know. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and that X Factor experience really like inspired me, and I was like, I need to pursue this more, because I was just always really quite a nervous, shy girl and I've in recent months been able to come out of my shell a bit more, but I was just so shy. I didn't think that I was ever going to be able to pursue singing because I wasn't very confident. So now I'm feeling really confident and positive about my music. I was like, as soon as this collab came along, it was like gut feeling of like, this is like going to be really, really, really big. And I like felt in love with the song as soon as Brad showed it to me. Like, it was an amazing song. And I was like, okay, I can see myself sitting on this. I remember being in the shower, like listening to it over and over again, like trying to visualize lyrics and stuff like that. So like, I love writing. It's my favorite part, and like have Brad come to me with it.
I was watching No Love Lost, whether they'll make a comeback or not. I think that first performance straight away, it was like, curtain comes up and there you are, and you're like leading with that voice. But you actually said you actually had like a phobia of performing before. But for me, it's almost like at the start, not saying throughout the whole song, but at the start, they're like your backup dancers.
Well, actually, interestingly, I kind of wasn't the lead singer at all in the group. Samira was like the lead singer. And I had to ask for that solo because I was like, do you know what, Zara, you've got a fear of singing. What better way to overcome it than literally get a solo? And the first time you perform live, overcoming my fear of singing was like a baptism of fire. My first ever time in front of anyone was at Simon Cowell's house in LA. Like, what a crazy story. It's like, I had a phobia of singing in front of people, couldn't even sing in front of my parents, and the first time I had to sing in public, it's in Simon Cowell's house with Nicole Scherzinger, Zoe Walsh, Jojo, like all incredible people, David Foster in the audience. When I'm singing, I'm like, there's David Foster, it's right there. Like, it's crazy. So, I mean, baptism of fire, that's all I'm going to say.
You obviously like launch yourself into it, and I mean, talking about Closer, like I think that as a track is just a perfect way to showcase like how good a singer you are. Am I right in thinking as well on the production? I know, Brad, you did the video, but is it a Ben Stankham beat?
Ben from scratch, like Ben did all of the production was down to Ben, and the writing. Like, we wrote the track together initially, and then Zara's part, Zara came in and wrote on her section of the track. We kind of had a vibe of where we wanted to go with it, because something that for me isn't done on like a lower level unless you kind of reach in the stage of like Mabel above. It's like from a pop scene and from a big pop production, everyone's doing this like bougie kind of stuff. And like, do you know what? It's because it's hard and it's very expensive, and it's to get that high level production is difficult. But like, if you're going to do stuff in life, you know, hit it hard, because you only live once.
Definitely. And I think that's the really cool thing about you as an artist, Brad, because people, for me, working at BBC Introducing as well and looking at the angle, it's sick your guys are getting support from the London show. When people think about unsigned music and new music, they're thinking, you know, for like 15-year-olds in their garage making quite lo-fi music, whereas what you're doing is very much like chart-based, and that doesn't make you any less, you know, like new music or unsigned. So it's about kind of subverting people's expectations, and that's what I think Closer does in a lot of ways. On the video front, amazing visuals. It looked like a lot of fun to film. Was Brad fun to perform with Zara? Because I mean, you had that nervousness about singing and performing. Did Brad make you feel very calm on set performing with him in that video?
And I think like what I really love about Brad is like he's so like it's all his idea. Like it's all based around like he almost directed the whole thing, which I thought was amazing. And like he was there while I was filming my part. So like, to know we had that kind of like, he didn't just like leave me to my own devices and put me in with a videographer and be like, okay, get on with it. It was like he was there, present, and like telling me what to do. And like I do like trust Brad 100% with like telling me, oh, that looks really good, or you know, maybe do this, maybe do that. So he's amazing. Like he's honestly pretty much directed the whole thing. Like honestly, so much of this goes down to Brad. So thanks.
No, it's as much like that's the thing between all of us. Like I think we all add a piece of the puzzle which doesn't have, and that's for me. That's what life is about. Like it's about bringing people together who, you know, have different skills, and you know, you have.
I think Brad's lagging out a little bit. Hopefully. Oh, in terms of like the future with music, where do you see it going from here? Are you keen to kind of keep building up on your platforms, because you're doing some awesome covers on YouTube, and you've got this track with Brad now? Are you thinking in terms of an EP or a longer project and what you might be able to put onto that?
Because I'm not signed, I can pretty much just do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I'm working with Ben a lot, as in I'm up with Ben 3 days a week writing. And he's amazing. Like he's literally like my partner in crime for writing. You know, Brad actually introduced us, and now he's become a really close friend of mine. And we're writing non-stop. I think we've got quite a few very good tracks, in my opinion, that I'm going to put out as soon as I possibly can. I think it's really important though right now for me to focus on Closer, because it's just like I want to make sure I put everything into that. I'm definitely looking at maybe releasing an EP, maybe a single. Don't know yet, but I've got a lot of good tracks. It's just working out what's the best way to release something. And I think that's something that, you know, it's going to be a huge learning experience for me. This is all new to me, so I'm just kind of like going it alone in a way, with Ben's help and Brad as well, who probably is going to help me in a way. The problem is, when you've done reality TV, people have like an assumption of you that you're talentless and you can't do anything, And I think almost people laugh at you when you try and step out of that remit, because you're supposed to like stay in this little box where you're a reality TV star, you're a Z-lister, and this is you. And I think basically I don't want to be that person. Like, I want to show that just because I was on Love Island doesn't make me any less talented than if I didn't do Love Island. Like, it doesn't make a difference.
You kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's like the expectation that people have of people who are on reality TV. How did you find making that transition so far from being someone who's on the reality stage to someone who is effectively an unsigned artist? Because I think that's the crazy thing that people might not realise about you. Even just because you've been on a big platform before in entertainment, it doesn't mean that you're a big signed artist on a major label now. You are still essentially an unsigned artist trying to forge a path with just talent and kind of a grassroots team.
Yeah, I think the key was for me just to almost like drip feed it a little bit to my audience and make them almost start getting used to the idea of me doing music, rather than me just releasing it like an EP or a single and people being like, what the hell is going on? I think it's really important for me to start doing covers and almost like ease people into it and be like, oh, okay, she can sing. Oh, okay, she can write. Like, just start. It's all about like audience perception and like what does someone, like I've got 1.4 million followers on Instagram, which people might think is a lot, but like, why do they follow me? A lot of people follow me just because I was on Love Island, and maybe 99% of them don't give a damn about my singing, and they don't care. And it's just it's all about translating that audience and getting them used to a different avenue for me. And if people want to drop off along the way and they think, well, I don't like that anymore, then that's fine. But then it's just a transition you have to make, and it's actually one of the hardest transitions to make, I think, that you ever can in an industry, because going from doing something so light-hearted and so entertainment-based and almost like relationship and sex-based as Love Island, and then going to pursue something that's completely different and super serious and takes a lot of planning and contingency. It's like making that transition it's not as easy as people think.
But it must be quite a liberating experience in a lot of ways, because you've sort of had the fast build-up that you had with the reality TV appearance, and now it's almost like you're reclaiming that platform and shaping it to something different. And I think on that note, you talked about being based in a very kind of light-hearted and entertainment field, and then having maybe more serious conversations as you progress on in your career. We know from a TV interview you did, you were working on a documentary with BBC Three about revenge porn. And I think this is something that a lot of people don't like to admit, almost is like the underground of the same culture that puts women in bikinis on, you know, bars in tabloid websites, is, in my opinion, the same kind of society that when you have a situation like revenge porn, places perhaps more blame on the woman who's taken the photos of herself than the man, in a lot of cases, who's broken her consent in leaking them.
Yeah, exactly. And that is such a huge, probably the biggest theme we're exploring about this documentary is the idea of victim blaming, and something that, you know, I think so many people who I've spoken to have experienced. And yeah, as you say, it does come from a society where women are objectified so much.
Absolutely.
That's, you know, and it's a shame that so much of the time it is women's pictures being shared and men sharing them. And like, I would, you know, I'm all for equality, but in this case, the statistics don't match what should be. You know, surely if we lived in an equal world, it would be an equal number of men and women who are victims of this. But unfortunately, it's just not the case. But yeah, it's been a really interesting place to go, and such an amazing experience to have your own BBC documentary that you're presenting and interviewing people. Like, I never expected to have this happen to me, and this whole experience with the BBC, and like, I'm so grateful that they would ever even consider me to do something like this.
And I'm not sure if it might be a frustration that you found, but do you ever find that people think, oh, well, she poses in bikinis or she's gone on these shows, so she's not allowed to talk about objectification and issues of misogyny, when actually the way I would logically argue about it is that you're actually on the front line of that, so you probably experience it far more than most people would.
I think the key word here for me is choice. Like, what do I choose to share in comparison to what I do not choose to share? The whole prospect of revenge porn is about choice, it's about responsibility. And yeah, people would probably look at me and be like, well, she shares pictures of herself in a bikini, so why is she so offended that there's like something that that tiny bit of a next level, but not too bad online. But it's the idea of, I think for me, someone manipulating my trust and manipulating other women most of the time's trust and thinking that's okay to do that, and that's more the principle of what I'm exploring.
It's fully amazing to hear about. So all the best, and thank you so much. Woo!
Thank you. Bye.